What's up, guys and girls? It's Bob from Home Cook Basics. Thanks for coming back to my channel. If you're new here, please subscribe down below. So I got a treat for you today. I'm gonna make some lasagna. All right, so I got a new burner. You're gonna have to bear with me a little bit. I just wanna make sure I get this thing working correctly. So I'm gonna go ahead and fire it up. This little hot plate's gonna make my video so much easier to do. All right, so we got it hot. We're gonna go ahead and add some oil. You know, there's going to be some fat in that beef. You just want to add enough to coat the bottom of the pan so the beef can brown. It's really important to brown. So you see how easy that oil's moving around that pan. And I'm buying that ground beef in the square package, so I like to chop it up before I put it in here, and just makes it a lot easier. All right, so we'll go ahead and add the beef right to that pan. Really important. You want to get that sizzle going. And go ahead and get that ground beef even across the bottom of the pan. Now this beef was frozen for me, so there's a lot of moisture in there. I got to let that moisture come off the beef. Now go ahead and add some salt. That's going to help pull some of that moisture out too. And as you can see, I'm leaving it in one spot because I want to get that to brown on the bottom. As we're waiting, I'm going to just chop up an onion and some garlic for the sauce. I like to use 4 cloves of garlic. Hopefully this is some nice garlic. We'll see. All right, that looks like it's almost brown. All right, the liquid's gone. Now we can kind of flip that over. You can see that beef starting to get brown. That brown is the flavor. Really important. All right, now that I got it brown, I'm gonna pull this beef off and cook up my onions. I don't cook the onions before and then throw the beef in because, like I said, I like to brown my beef. Just a little more oil. Now I go ahead and add my onions. Add a little bit more salt. We're always salting, right? Make it the meat sauce. Make it meat sauce. I'm not Italian though. I'm not Italian. But man, do I love Italian stuff. So essentially what we're doing in this pan right now is we're building flavor, right? We got the beef, the little bit of fat that's in there. It wasn't much fat. It was a lean beef. Before the onions burn, give them a toss. Just like that beef, we want to brown these onions too. Just like the rest of it, building flavor. You want to mince the garlic pretty small because you don't want someone to get a massive piece of garlic. All right, so we're building up some onions, got some brown, looking pretty good. You can see it on the bottom of that pan. So we're gonna add half a can of the tomato paste. The idea here is we wanna brown this tomato paste, okay? So we're getting it in there. And we wanna get it on the bottom of this pan. And just like the onions, we're browning that tomato paste. You gotta be careful though. If you get too much there, you're getting black, and we don't want that. So this is real fine line with this tomato paste. Really fine line. Okay? Then you want to add about half a can of water. right before that gets too brown. Now when I say half a can of water, if you had half a tomato paste, you'd fill the other half with water. And this gives you an opportunity to clean anything off the bottom of that pan. So right now I'm trying to get to almost like paste-like. All right, now that we've got to that kind of pasty substance there, it's time to get that garlic in. I'll make like almost like a little well for it there. And you will smell that fast on smell-o-vision. Oh man, it smells good. Now, before you brown too much on the bottom, now we're just gonna add that whole can of crushed tomato sauce in. Okay, there's our sauce. Go ahead and incorporate all that. Now we're gonna add some salt. Taking a decent amount here. We're salting everything, right? And now I just add a little bit of some Italian seasoning. Nothing crazy here. Probably, if you're measuring, it'll be about a tablespoon, maybe a little less. As you can see, I'm just trying to, looks like I'm coating the bottom, right? Getting some fresh cracked black pepper in there. Guys, if you're not cracking your pepper, you're doing it wrong, okay? Don't buy the already made pepper. And what does this take? Nothing. Add all that, give it a good stir. Get that ground beef back in there. If you like a sweeter sauce, you can add some sugar to this. But personally, I don't, especially in lasagna. So now we're gonna make the next part, which is to switch on the ricotta, because I don't dig the ricotta. We're doing a bechamel sauce. Bechamel sauce, this stuff is incredible, super simple, easy to make. Make sure you keep watching this. So essentially what we're doing here is really simple. We're making a roux. So we need 4 tablespoons of butter. So we're just cutting half a stick of butter. Make sure we got none of the paper. Got a 1/4 cup of flour. Once this butter is melted, I'm gonna add that. It's really important to keep it moving so you don't burn it. You do not want to burn this flour as you add it. So keep it moving in that butter. If your heat's too hot, turn it down. If you have clumps, go ahead and work them off. It's important that you want to cook the flour though too, so that's why this part is really important. Keep it moving. Should have been a little bit thicker. To grab a little more flour. That should be plenty. Grab that warm milk that you had, and then we're going to slowly whisk this in. It's really important to keep it going, or that flour is going to clump in there. So as you can see, I started to lose that bechamel sauce. It was starting to clump up when I was pouring that warm milk in there. So what I did is I just added it to a bigger pot. You didn't see it in the video because I grabbed a pan and I just really started to incorporate it to get those clumps out, and I used a whisk, right? I shouldn't have added that extra flour. I should have kept going, but I was getting too impatient and it just became too thick. So about the same amount of flour I added more milk, and then I just really whipped it up really good. And that gave me like a perfect bechamel sauce for a thickness. But you're just gonna keep the same ratio that I had before, but it's key to let it brown up before it thickens, and don't add the flour, right? And then the consistency you're looking for in this bechamel, you want it to stick to the back of a spoon, right? So if you look at that, it's still running a little and it's a little bit thick and it sticks to the back of a spoon. That's the consistency you want for this sauce. Now all we gotta do is cook those noodles. The pasta noodle, the lasagna noodles, and then we'll be able to build this thing. All right, water's to a boil. Then we're gonna add salt. If you're not salting your pasta noodles, that can be a problem. All right, get them moving around. You don't want to break them, but you want to make sure that they're not sticking together. Then we got to put these in cold water because we want to stop the cooking. Like I said, we're only cooking them a little bit. Like you want to get them going maybe 5 minutes. One of the reasons I use this little dish is because I cook it in the Breville oven, and the bigger one doesn't fit. This little 9x9 fits really well. This was actually provided to me by Emil Henry. So guys, if you haven't used their stuff yet, amazing stuff. All right, good enough for me. Start pulling these noodles. So this cold water is going to stop the cooking. It's going to prevent them from sticking together. All right, so we got 2 cheeses that go in this lasagna. We got mozzarella, which everybody loves and knows in a lasagna. And also I got some Parmigiano Reggiano. Anyway, so we're going to grate that up. The Parmesan goes in between layers. And then the mozzarella, I got some actually sheep mozzarella and then some regular skim mozzarella that we've had here that's cow milk. So we'll go ahead and slice that up. Really important, guys, to be grating your own cheese. You don't want to be using store-bought cheese. That store-bought stuff is full of cellulose, actually, paper. Actually, now that I think about it, I haven't even tried the meat sauce to make sure it's all good and it doesn't need any salt or anything. No, that's good. It doesn't need anything. All right, perfect. So let's go ahead and build this lasagna. We got the meat sauce, bechamel, mozzarella, some Parmigiano Reggiano. I got the noodles over here, and let's just go ahead and build this thing. Go ahead and preheat your oven. I like to go 350. So first things first is a layer of meat sauce. Don't be shy. You want to get it across the whole bottom. Now that you completely filled the bottom, we're going to add noodles. I had to cut mine because they're too big for this pot. You want to shake off as much water if it's got water on them. Make sure you get it all. You want all sections to have pasta. Another layer of sauce on here. Next, we're going to add some of that bechamel. It's cooled a little bit, so it's a little bit thicker. Try to get it along everything. This will kind of work its way into all of it. That buttery goodness. Now we add some of that fresh mozzarella. And I can't stress it enough, guys. Get your own block. Okay, got a nice layer of that. And then I do fresh ground Parmigiano Reggiano. Gives it a little bit of funk. Okay. As you can see, super simple, right? You're just going to keep building layer after layer after layer. And don't forget to squish it down a little bit, because you're looking to fill any air gaps. You want this thing nice and tight. You want it all cooking together. That's it. Now throw it in the oven. I just like to watch it. So you're going as long as it takes for the cheese to not burn on top. You want to get it nice and golden brown. You're going to give it at least a half hour to bubble up and cook really good. And then the top will be brown. By the time the top gets really brown and ready, then the inside should be fine, because pretty much everything's already cooked. So go ahead, throw it in your oven. All right, so I pulled it out, but now the hard part is you got to let this thing set, okay? At least a half hour. You want 30 minutes to let all those juices come back into that lasagna. All right, this is it. So it's been out of the oven for a good half hour, still hot. These dishes like really retain the heat. I mean, that's really still warm. And now we're going to jump into this thing. So let me know in the comments, do you like ricotta or have you tried a bechamel? Let me know. I definitely like corners. I like to give a good cut to get through that cheese. All right, one swoop. There we go. Oh, look at that. cheesy goodness. Bit of a massive piece, but let's get in there. Oh, so soft. Want a little bit of that cheese, meat sauce. I can see that bechamel. I got a whole big bite of this. Wow. The meaty of that meat sauce, all those cheese coming together. The Parmigiano Reggiano with the mozzarella, the bechamel sauce. Oh man, that just really hits its spot. Noodles, they're cooked perfectly. So cheesy, so good. Well, that's it. My lasagna without ricotta. I love it. You gotta try this. Let me know in the comments if you tried it. And I want to thank you for coming and visiting my channel. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe down below. And if you're really interested in some more Italian, check out my simple meat sauce here and my chicken Florentine. This chicken Florentine is delicious. And I'll see you next time on Home Cooked Basics.